Peace, brothers and sisters in humanity. Okay, I hope you're all well. Today, I came to talk. I've been meaning to talk about this for a long time, actually, because people want to say, "How do you pray? How do you learn how to 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 do salat?" Like salat has anything to do with like sujood or ruku' or any praying they're doing at the moment. Uh, this hadith, right, is called the story of the miraculous night journey. Right, this is where the 5 times a day prayer came to be implemented. So the prophet went up to anyway. Before we talk about this, I'm going to do something different today. Right, I'm not going to listen to. Before I do listen to the hadith, right, let's go. Let's go and see the Quran. All right, because we usually do it the other way around, right? Put the hadith, then go to the Quran. Now, today I'm going to start with the Quran. See what the Quran says about if the Prophet can fly on a horse and go and see God, right? Okay. Basically, that this verse, right? This verse of the Quran is very clear, very thorough as well, and basically the Prophet Muhammad, when when he first started living with these people, they didn't believe in him, right? They did not believe in him at all, right? Just few, very few, right? Very few believed in him. The rest didn't, because they had it kushti. Do you know what I mean? They had it kushti, so they don't want to believe in one God. They had so many gods. They used them for business. They had slaves. They had everything. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and Prophet Muhammad came to tell them to stop all that. There's no slavery, no that. We have to be equal. And these people didn't care, basically. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you came to change our lives. So basically, they were asking him things, right? Because obviously, he told them he was a prophet, he was a messenger, and he doesn't have any miracles. He's got the Quran, the revelation from God, but he hasn't got any miracles, like miracles they can see, right? So, this is Surah Bani Israel, chapter 17, verse 90, right? Because they didn't believe that God will send a human being. So many things. They called him so many things, you know what I'm saying? So, but in this verse, God gave us a lot of details, right? Look what they said, right? Chapter 17, verse 90. They said, "We will not believe you unless you cause a spring to gush out of the ground, or unless you own a garden of palm trees and grapes with rivers running through it, or unless you bring the sky down on us, as you claimed." You see, they're asking him all these things, and the most interesting in is bring the sky down on us, as you claim. So the Prophet claimed, if they don't believe, he will bring down the sky on them. Okay, just remember this verse, right? Because we're going to come to it in the future. Or unless you bring God, this is mad. Unless you bring God and the angels before our eyes. So they asked him, right? So he must be more powerful than God, because they asked him to go and bring God and the angels to them. Okay? Or unless you own a luxurious mansion, or unless you climb into the sky. Listen to this, yeah? Or unless you climb into the sky, even if you do climb, we will not believe unless you bring a book that we can read. See, they ask him to go up on the sky and then bring a book so they can read it, okay? And Allah told Muhammad to say, "Glory be to my Lord. Am I any more than a human messenger?" And then the verse goes like, after this you can read about it. It's like what prevented the people from believing when he sent them, like something like that. But just carry on the verse, yeah, because I didn't give you the whole blessed chapter. So it's clear here. His people ask him to go up in the sky, right? Go up in the sky and bring down a book. And God told him, right, Listen to this very, very carefully, right? Glory be to my Lord. Am I any more than a human messenger? I'm only a human being. I'm only a messenger. I mean, I can't do all this. I can't go up in the sky and bring God and have, like gush. You know what I mean? Prophet Muhammad didn't have miracles. Like you call them miracles. We call them proof, but they call them miracles, right? He had the proof. He only had to bring in proof, right? Other prophets before him, yeah, they did. They did practice this. They did perform like miracles, but they're not miracles. They are proofs. They're not miracles. They're proofs for people to see. Okay. The last messenger, which is the Prophet Muhammad, God didn't give him any miracles. He gave him the Quran, right? And the Quran, a lot of people say, is a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's a proof. It's not a miracle. It's the proof, right? It's the proof that is from Allah, right? It's not a miracle, right? It's the proof, right? For us to read and recognize this book. No human being can even think about producing. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just a proper God's words. That's what it is. It can't be anything else. Do you know what I'm saying? It can't be anything else. It can't be anything else. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, and then they came up with this hadith, right? Which is we're gonna come to very, very quickly in a minute, right? And then when you tell them, right, if God, right, let the prophet perform a miracle on this verse chapter 17, he only said, I'm a human being, I don't do these things like that. But you ask this Sunnis and tell them, right, give me a proof from the Quran. Give me a verse from the Quran that says he actually went up there. You know what I mean? Because this verse here exists when he told them I'm a human being. So if he's gone up there, right, up to see God, right, must be another verse saying that he has been. Do you know what I mean? Because it should prove to the Arabs that, look, you asked me to do this, so I've done it. So for them to believe, right? But there isn't a single verse in the Quran that says it. But they give you another verse that has nothing to do with anything they're talking about, right? And that verse is the stars, chapter 53. You read from verse 1 because it's a lot of verses, yeah? All right, listen to this, yeah? Listen to this. According to them, this is the proof that the prophet went up there to see God, right? As the stars fell away, your friend was not astray, nor was he deceived, nor was he speaking out of personal desire. It was a divine inspiration, dictated to him by the most powerful, possessor of all authority, from his highest height, at the highest horizon. He drew nearer by moving down. So, God here is not talking about himself, obviously, is he? Is he talking about himself? He's not. And he's not talking about the Prophet Muhammad, is it? He drew nearer, alright? It's not talking about the Prophet Muhammad. Let's carry on. We find out exactly who is he talking about, alright? Because God doesn't draw near. It doesn't move down. Do you know what I mean? It's just, what kind of God is that moves down and goes near and far? Because God is everywhere. Everywhere. Everywhere you look, there is God. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't be moving nearer or slower, or can't be going up or down, or, do you know what I'm saying? So, it's talking about someone else, all right? Dictated by the most powerful, at the highest horizon. He drew nearer by moving down, until he became as close as possible. So, God, this is not God, right? He's not talking about himself. God doesn't come down, does it? All right? And this verse is talking about things like this entity coming down, right? It's not talking about anything that's going up, right? It's clear, right? Until he became as close as possible. Then he revealed to his servant what was to be revealed. So revelations, basically. The mind can never disbelieve what it saw. Are you doubting what he saw, as he saw him in another descent at the ultimate point. You know what I mean? So look, as he saw him in another descent, that means he saw him twice. So there is two going up to, according to them, to the hadith, all right? Just when you listen to the hadith later, you realize, you know exactly what I'm talking about, all right? On this verse, it's saying that it's a descent. He saw him in another descent, all right? So, God here is talking about Gabriel, all right? Gabriel that came down, Gabriel that got close to the prophet, and Gabriel that revealed the revelation to him. And Gabriel who descended a second time, and he met him at the ultimate point. God never said where this point is, right? But to them, according to them, this point is up, where God is. They call Sidrat al-Muntaha. According to them, and you read in this verse, please, all right? Please, if you're Sunni, yeah, and you can understand English, all right? Does this verse has anything to do what the hell you're talking about? On this, with the prophet monk shit, all right? Look. First of all, no music instruments been used. It's like music instruments are haram, yeah? Apparently, I don't know, this Dawah team, all right? Let's listen to this. It's going to be a long video, sorry, but...
Brothers and sisters, we had commenced yesterday the story of the Ascension and the story of the journey by night, known as Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. And this had happened as a gift to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam after what was known as the year of sorrow or grief or sadness, Amul Huzn, where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam had lost his uncle, he lost his wife Khadija radiyallahu anha, he lost, meaning he went to a...
All this doesn't mean anything. Right? Let's forget about monk, yeah? Monk, just ugh. Let's listen to someone else. But there's all of them, they love saying this hadith, man. You go in there and everyone is taking this hadith and actually spreading it around and thinking it's a miracle and crap, yeah? Right? A human being can go up a sky and on a horse, right? Please, let's do this. Right, let's get the first one, right?
Build wealth.
If you want to watch it all, I'll show you the channel because it's quite long. But we're not going to read it all. We're not.
Things just don't feel right when you...
Come on, man. Just adverts. Anyway, what he's going to say, he's going to say that, alright, Gabriel came down with a horse, alright? It's not a horse, it's between a donkey and a horse or something like that, right? And this creature has wings, right? It starts from there, yeah? Come.
So number one miracle, it is the Quranic Kareem. Comes after the miracle of Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, a night journey. And
So the miracle of the Quran and the miracle of the Isra wal-Mi'raj, there's only two miracles, right? According to them, right? So we've got the Quran, yeah, as a miracle, yeah, all right, but we haven't got this hadith in the verse in the Quran. So if there is another miracle, God did not say it in the Quran, all right? He only said it in the hadith.
it means ascension. The night journey and the ascension. And the Prophet... So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wakes up to see Jibreel alayhi salam alongside a beast. That beast is...
First of all, I've got to tell you that because I know the hadith, all of it in Arabic, right? At the beginning, they don't know, right? They don't know where the Prophet was when that happened. They have three different stories, right? Three different stories where he was, right? So, this miracle, where it started is very unknown because they have three versions of the same hadith, right? Telling them he was in three different places, okay? Just bear that in mind, right?
As al-Buraq. And what's the Buraq? The Buraq, as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam describes it, between a mule and a donkey. So it's a different beast that it does not exist on the face of this earth. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ describes that as the transportation of the prophets and the messengers. And this buraq is so quick that one step of this buraq is as far as this buraq can see. So if the buraq can see 10 kilometers, that's one step. Within a small number of steps.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? You know what I mean? So if he can see up to France, one step. What do you mean one step? He's got wings, right? And in the hadith, right, Gabriel, right, in the hadith, right, Gabriel is very strong, as God said, right? God said on this, is very strong, right? And he's got so many wings, right? And he's very powerful, right? Why did he have to bring a horse, or whatever they call him? Why can't he just take him? You know what I mean? Why did he have to bring a horse for him to go up? Why can't just Gabriel take him? 1 point. Carry on.
The buraq can transport the prophets and messengers from one city to another city, from one continent to another continent. For what reason did you bring
An intercontinental horse.
Salam come down to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during this unexpected time? It is because an invitation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And then
Did you hear that? It's an invitation that Allah sent to the Prophet. God sends invitations. God.
Invitation that Allah Azza wa Jal wanted to take the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from Mecca to Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa, Al-Quds, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right. He went to the Aqsa. Right. Aqsa wasn't built then. Do you know what I mean? They'll tell you so many things about that. No, it was that, and then Moses and all that. No. They're not called Al-Aqsa. Right? They're not called Al-Aqsa them ones. Right? Al-Aqsa is the one was built by Umar ibn Khattab or someone else before him. Right? So he actually traveled he's just moved continent. He's actually moved through time as well, right? So he went back, he went forward. This is back to the future. Back to the future one, right?
Send the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to the heavens. And then Jibreel tells the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, Allah wants you right now. And what more of a call, what better call can you even ask for than the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah Azza wa Jalla is inviting you to Him. And that's a similar call that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites us to stand before Him, and that's 5 times a day in the salah. And then the Prophet Muhammad...
You heard that, yeah? It's the same call. It's like one they call out for praying, that's Allah inviting you, right? That's an invitation from Allah, right? So Allah sends invitations. Okay.
On the buraq, with Jibreel, he embarks alayhi salatu wasalam on this journey, leaving Mecca to Jerusalem. How far is Mecca to Jerusalem? We are talking over 1,500 kilometers. How long would it take them back then for them to travel from Mecca to Jerusalem? At least 2 months there and 2 months back. But then the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, within seconds alayhi salatu wasalam, was from Mecca in Jerusalem on this buraq. Then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam prays at Masjid al-Aqsa, because Masjid al-Aqsa is the second establishment. The first establishment and the first masjid that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established was Mecca, the Kaaba. Then 40 years after that, it was Masjid al-Aqsa. And some narrations say that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam met with all the prophets and messengers before he was ascended. Other narrations say he met with all the prophets and messengers after he ascended.
So he moved through time, and then he met all the prophets and messengers. They're alive, obviously. Then all the prophet and messengers, they're actually alive now, right? They didn't die, according to this hadith, right? They didn't die because he actually met them, okay?
When the Prophet
he was alive when he went there, and they were alive, okay?
sallallahu alayhi wa sallam arrived to Jerusalem at Masjid al-Aqsa. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was offered 2 cups by Jibreel alayhi salam. The first cup or bowl, it had milk. The second cup or bowl, it had alcohol, wine. So Jibreel alayhi salam told the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, here are 2 cups, you choose. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam chose the cup of milk. So Jibreel alayhi salam tells the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam,
This is a test, really. It's just a test. Milk and alcohol. There's something about alcohol and about these things about alcohol. They always bring it everywhere, all right? Or khanzir or pork or something. They all bring everywhere. Everywhere you see the alcohol. Like alcohol is I don't know what, all right? You think the whole Quran was about alcohol or about the meat of things, you know, the meat of pigs or something. You know what I mean? Like, what is this a test? Is he testing a prophet? Doesn't the prophet knows that he shouldn't drink? Well, I mean, what is that? Do you know what I mean? The prophet knows it was not forbidden, but it was advised against to drink alcohol. I ain't gonna drink alcohol. Of course, he chooses milk. Who brought these things? Who really brought this shit?
Muhammad, you saved yourself and you saved your nation from disaster. If you had chosen the cup of alcohol or the cup of wine, you would have been doomed and your nation would have been doomed. You would have been destroyed and your nation would have been destroyed.
Why? I mean, why? I mean, there's nations who drink alcohol now. They're not destroyed, are they? You know what I mean? Why? I mean, a lot of people drink. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of countries drink left and right. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's... But they're not destroyed, are they? Are they? Why would he choose the wine when he knows it's forbidden? He's a prophet. He's got the Quran telling him not to drink alcohol or to stay away from alcohol. Why would he choose? Damn, man.
Fitra. That's what Jibreel told the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And what's the fitra? The natural instinct. And that's what Islam is about. So original. So genuine. Then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he had toiled in the Buraq at some rock in Masjid al-Aqsa. Then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam started to ascend to the heavens.
Right, he stopped very, because he didn't tell the whole story, right? The story here, he went to Jerusalem, right? He met the prophets, all the prophets, and Gabriel started to introduce him to all the prophets there, right? They like to chop, even the Hadith, they like to chop them up, right? But I'm going to tell that quickly before he gets there, right? I'm going to tell quickly before he carries on with his chopped up Hadith. He met Gabriel introduced him to all the prophets, and Adam, Moses, and then it was time to pray, right? And then who prayed with him? They prayed under the Prophet Muhammad. For some reason, right, Prophet Muhammad ended up praying with all the prophets and the messengers. And then, what do you mean praying? What was he praying? If there was no prayer yet, right? If there was no prayer yet, he's actually gone up to get the praying times and how to pray and everything. What was he praying? What salat was he praying? How was he praying it? Well, just dumb, innit? It's just dumb, innit? Because apparently they didn't pray before that. Or even if they prayed, why would God change it? The way they prayed. Why would God all of a sudden change his... you're praying, yeah? No, I'm going to change the way you pray. Right? I'm going to change it because I don't like it. So God changes his mind. In the Quran, God said, I do not change my mind. I do not change my words. And I do not change my ways.
And the first, what we see before us, that's the sky. But then after that, you've got the first heaven, the heaven of this dunya, the heaven of this world. Where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu within seconds, he alayhi salatu wassalam, went beyond the skies. And he alayhi salatu wassalam...
I won't even go to like scientific facts that no human being, no creature can survive going up in the sky, is it? I mean, no creature, there's vacuum, there's no air, there's no nothing. So how did the Prophet Muhammad breathe? How did this horse breathe? It's just not, this is scientific facts, but it's okay, just go past them, yeah? Let's pretend we just don't know, we're just dumb, right?
The first heaven with Jibreel alayhi salam. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Jibreel arrived to the first heaven, Jibreel alayhi salam knocked on the gate of the first heaven.
You heard that? Jibreel knocks, yeah? There's a door. Yeah? So he knows, knocked. Alright, first heaven. So Gabriel has to knock to get in. Hey, Gabriel has to knock to get in.
They are the gatekeepers of the first heaven. They said, who's there? So Jibreel alayhi.
How funny. It's like they're hiding behind a door and saying, who's there? Who's running this place? Isn't God running everything? Isn't God knows that Gabriel is coming up? You know what I mean? Isn't God knows everything? So why would he knock? Why are the other ones knocking? It's like an old woman behind the door. Who's there? You know what I mean?
Said it is Jibreel. So they said, and do you have anyone with you? And the reason that I've asked, do you have anyone with you, is because they knew that there's someone special, and that's the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu.
Does that make sense to you? The only reason they asked, what is there someone with you? Because they knew it was special. Blah. Bro, someone shoot me in the head.
So Jibreel alayhi salam, he replies and he says, yes, I have Muhammad. So the angels and the gatekeepers of the first heaven, they will say, was an invitation sent to him by Allah? So Jibreel will say yes. So they'll open the gate of the first heaven and they say, welcome to you and to Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, for them to welcome the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Why is Gabriel, he's so weak? So like he's like a, I don't know, it's like a rep, like a tourist rep or something, you know. I don't know, why is all this story,
in the
why?
first heaven. And we are talking about a different heaven than what we see in front of us. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will encounter Adam alayhi salam in the first heaven. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will greet Adam alayhi salam with the greetings of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So Adam alayhi salam will respond back to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And he welcomes him and he says to him, welcome, O Prophet, a son of a Prophet. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ascends to...
No. Alright, this is a lie. They're chopping up shit, alright? And then when he gets to the first guy, I'm talking about the full hadith, right, in Arabic, yeah? When he's gone up to the first guy, right, he actually met Prophet Adam. And then the Prophet Adam asked Gabriel, who is this? And remember, yeah, he just met him in Israel. And Gabriel introduced all of them to him and he prayed with them. Do you know what I mean? So, and then all of a sudden he's gone up to the sky. Adam is alive there, alive running around in the sky, all right? And then he asked Gabriel, who is this? And that makes no sense. You just met him down there. You know what I mean? Why are you asking him? And then when Gabriel said, it's the Prophet Muhammad, you know what Adam said? Why was he sent? That means, is he the Prophet? So God sent Muhammad already. That is the hadith in Arabic. I'm not making this shit up. It's just that's what it is. And then he goes up and up and up, and every sky he meets another prophet until he gets to. Let's go straight to the 7th point because the rest of it is just blah blah blah. Let's get when he gets to Moses. Ah, come on, give me a break. When he gets to Moses, please. Because he goes to the 6th or 7th sky and he meets Moses.
Allahu Akbar, a fourth tree for you in the Jannah. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam continues his ascension.
Just wait for this 7th.
Where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam reaches to Sidrat al-Muntaha.
You see, that's why I brought the verse, right?
It says, "O Muhammad, inform your nation that the Jannah, the paradise, is so beautiful."
Yeah.
And it's a flat surface.
So the Jannah is beautiful. Like Moses seen the Jannah already. So is he in a paradise now? Or did he see it? Because God said no one's seen it before. God in the Quran says no one's seen this Jannah before. Right? Now Moses is telling me it's so beautiful. Well, let's
and the structure of the Jannah is the remembrance of Allah subhanahu.
It's just, he goes on. It's just shit.
La ilaha illallah, a third tree for you in the Jannah.
Okay, this is all bullshit, yeah?
This is my limit. And now...
Look, so when you go to the seventh sky, right?
Then you'll abandon me.
Alright, and Gabriel told him, that's it. Look.
And Jibreel stops. So Nabi Sallallahu looks behind and he says to him, "O Jibreel, is this the time that you'll abandon me? Is this the time that you leave me?" So Jibreel says to him, "O Muhammad, By Allah, this is my limit. And no human being, no angel, no creation of Allah had ever gone beyond this boundary.
You see where Muhammad becomes very special. You see why Muhammad here becomes an idol. You see what I'm talking about. So no prophet, not even the prophet Abraham, who God's talk about with such, you know what I mean? He actually asked Muhammad to follow his path, right? Not even the prophet Abraham or Adam or any other prophet, Jesus, Moses, not even Gabriel can go behind that limit, except who? The Prophet Muhammad. Because why? Because he's an idol. He's a partner. He's not normal. He's not a human. He's not an angel. He's something else.
This limit except you, so you continue. An honor to this VIP, a very important prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
You listening, yeah? I'm not saying nothing. Just listen to his words. How he's trying to make a prophet into a god, something special, someone who's.
So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ascends. He is going to meet with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the universe. Allahu Akbar. Can you imagine a better meeting than this meeting? And now Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for the first time, he is being addressed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. There are things that we know of, and there are things that we don't know of. Later on, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was asked, did you manage to see Allah Azza wa Jal? So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replies and he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a great light.
Say this, so by saying the Prophet has gone up all these 7 skies and he got to this point, right? This point, right? That means God has a shape and he has to be somewhere, isn't it? And apparently he's seen it, he has got a lot of light. So God can be seen, right? Which is against the Quran. God can't be seen, okay? And he has to go somewhere to speak to him. What does it mean? That God is somewhere, is there. Do you know what I'm saying? For me to go and see God, it has to be somewhere because I had to move. Do you know what I mean? I had to move and travel to get to that point to see God. That means God has a shape. God is a figure. God can be seen. See what I'm talking about? It's just all against the Quran. And then he goes on, because they talk a lot of rubbish, you see. They talk a lot of rubbish, right? They chop off the hadith when it matters, but they add other things when they don't really matter, and they're not even in the hadith, right? And I can read the hadith to you in Arabic. And then he went up there and God asked him to ask his people, well, basically told them about praying, right? He just prayed, but he just told him about praying 50 times. So God started with 50. And then 50 times, 50 prayers, 50 times. We pray 50, now they pray 5 times, but he gave him 50 times, right? And then he went down and he met the prophet Moses. And Moses says, it's too much for you. So you have to go up there and tell him that it's too much, right? Like God does not know better than Moses. So God doesn't know that 50 is too much, but Moses does. And then, and Moses has more pity than God. So he had to go back to God. The prophet had to go back to God and negotiate, basically. He started negotiating with God, like until he brought it down to 5, right? Right? This is it. Brought it down to 5. So that's sort of negotiation, right? Like God is changing his mind here. 50, 45, 40, 35. So God changes his words, changes his ways, changes his mind. And God in the Quran says, his words don't change. His mind doesn't change. His ways don't change. He does not change anything. Not to your prophet, not to any prophet, not to any angel, not to any creature. His ways are set and they'll never change. So this hadith, right, that brought the salat, the prayer, 5 times a day prayer, itself, right, this hadith itself is lying about the Prophet, lying about God, lying about everything. It's a lie. It's a make up like scientific science fiction, stupid science fiction. It's like watching one of those like very low budget movies, right? And how they talked about knocking on doors and how he flies and this is just travels through time, and he goes even to see heaven, and he goes in this hadith, yeah, he goes to see the judgment day. I told you he travels through time. He goes and see judgment day, and that's in this same hadith. We will tell him that hell was full of women, right? He saw women being hanged from their tits, their asses, their skin, I'm saying, they've been like tortured and burnt by God, basically. That's what he's saying. Most people that they're gonna go to hell, they are women. Majority of them are women. That's what the Arab mentality, man. That's the Arab mentality, to make their women submissive to them, no matter what they tell them. This is pure Arab thinking, man. This is pure, not Arabs, yeah, not Arabs, the normal Arabs. No. When I talk about Arabs, not the normal Arabs, that the ones that God said they are the worst of the worst. It's called them al-Arab, right? They are the worst of the worst. I told you, this, whatever you call them, hadiths, right? They all Arab man-made, and they all have a reason why they've been written, right? Right? To enslave you. Call you Sunni and enslave you. That's all. Peace out.